Hey guys, coming to you today from the range where it is nothing short of frigid. It is very cold and very damp and very windy. What do you do on a day like that? Obviously you come to the range. That's what you do. A little something from Heckler & Koch. HK VP9, brand new. Just got it from the store, which is close by. Brought it here to the range on this frigid day. Luckily, I have some ammo with me, and I'm going to put a few rounds through it. Just a few, because I'm not going to stay out here long. Well, let's go ahead and put maybe a couple boxes worth of ammo through this thing. Get some idea how it shoots. Then I'm going to go back somewhere where it's warm and we'll talk about it. I'm going to load these magazines up because I don't want to go through this process any more often than I have to. $15-round magazines. We're going to load them full. Going to start out with Freedom Munitions. Good new ammo. 115 grain ball. You know, it's kind of a bad sign when you come out to the range on a Saturday and you got the place to yourself. So you should know that's a bad sign right off the bat. Quick look at the VP9. Heckler & Koch VP9, 9mm, polymer framed, made in Germany. Well, let's see if we can't start breaking it in a little bit. It is freezing. I can barely feel my fingers. How well do you shoot when you can't feel your fingers? Let's find out. Okay, now I am indoors where I can actually speak without my teeth chattering. We can take a closer look at this HK VP9 9mm polymer framed striker fired pistol from Heckler & Koch. Got a lot of attention this past year when it was released. It was definitely one of those that was released with a lot of buzz. Didn't need to have a whole lot of marketing and promotion done just because, you know, the industry interest was already there. Just to show how cool I am, I waited until all the buzz died down. In other words, I waited till I could get my hands on one. Okay, so here's what comes in the box. The pistol, of course, it's got a magazine in it. We have another magazine over there. No, that's not a spare magazine. That is the second magazine. There's no such thing as a spare magazine. Then we have a couple of compartments here containing some polymer parts. And what those are is in the center we have two different sized palm swells or back straps, whichever term you prefer. Got a large one and I think a small one. I presume that the medium is the one installed. I don't know if they say what size they are on them. The large is kind of obvious. Oh, yep, there we go. There's an L right there in that circle for large. And I'm going to bet that this one has an S for small. Yep, S for small right there in that circle. So the medium is the one that they've installed on the gun. And then over here we have something even more interesting, I think, and that is alternate side panels, inserts that go right here. If you can see that, let me get the light in this outline. You can see right along in here and right along your Batman curves there. If the Heckler & Koch HK45 is Batman's gun, then I guess this one is Robin's. So we can refer to this gun as the Boy Wonder. All right. So very interestingly, we have larger and smaller. And by larger and smaller, it's the thickness. So if you want to reduce or increase the thickness of the grip, you can do so not only by changing this curved back strap here, but you can also add some thickness or reduce thickness on the side. So very nice customization possibilities here with this pistol. Now I shot it. You saw I shot the first 100 rounds through this gun already today. I haven't cleaned it. I've given it a wipe down, but I haven't cleaned it. Haven't taken it down to do that yet. But the way it came with the mediums installed actually felt pretty good. I'm probably going to leave it alone like that for at least a while before I mess with it. The medium felt good. Okay, so that a little bit of a detour there. So this is what comes in the box. All right, so then up here under our foam in the top, we have a couple of things that are pretty common. We have the first casing from test firing the gun, and that was done back in October. We have our gun lock, our HK gun lock. Yay! We'll add this to the gun lock collection. We have some silica gel desiccant. Good. The manual that I'm holding here, but also I'm oohing and awing over is my sticker, HK sticker. So I love when companies give you a sticker, because I like to stick them on things. All right, and the operator's manual. So the big attraction to the VP9 from HK was that they went to the striker fired rather than hammer fired, which is their signature design. But the striker fired polymer pistol market has no shortage of options. You know, you can't swing a dead mouse, let alone a cat, without hitting a pretty good quality striker fired 9mm pistol made by everybody and anyone. So there's no guarantee of success entering this very, very crowded market, but HK obviously felt like they had something to offer. Now with the HK VP9, we have the paddle mag releases, right? The European style, so there's no button here. To release the magazine, you use these paddles, and there's one on either side, so that's an ambidextrous control. I find it, as a right-hander, I find it actually easier to just use my trigger finger and release the magazine that way than to try and bring my thumb around, because that's so far forward you really have to alter your grip quite a bit. So I just use index finger on that hand. The gun has 3-dot combat sights. They are not night sights, however, they do glow in the dark. But they glow in the dark using stored light. So with exposure to ambient light, like they are right now, and you put this in the dark and it'll glow for some period of time, and they glow very, very brightly, but they don't glow under their own power. So there's no tritium, there's no night sight capability if it's been stored in the dark. It's a good, very good sight picture. The 3 dots in daylight or darkness are very easy to pick up. I like the size of the sights. That front post fills the rear notch just about perfectly. Another of the interesting, unique qualities of the VP9 are these little ears, for lack of a better description, at the back of the slide. Raise this up here so you can see that those protrude on either side. and that is to assist the operator in racking the slide, charging the gun, or cocking, if you want to use the simple term. So those are basically little cocking handles. So if you're using the pinch method, it gives you a little more to bite on when you bring that slide back. And if you're using the overhand method, it also gives you sort of a place to put your thumb and then the leading edge of your forefinger to rack the slide back as well. Another thing that the VP9 has, and we get it in the light here so you can see it, you see that red dot in the center at the back end of the striker channel. That red dot indicates that the gun is charged, that it's cocked and ready to fire. So if I discharge the, make sure that it's unloaded. If I dry fire it, that disappears. So, gun is charged, you see the red dot. When it's not, you don't. So that's a nice indicator. It also has a loaded chamber indicator built into the extractor, and that is a red line that's about 1/4 of an inch long right up in here. The VP9 is essentially a completely ambidextrous pistol right out of the box. So for left-handers, or if you have a shared situation where you may share this gun in the household and one person is right-handed, one person is left-handed, this is an ideal gun for that type of situation because you have the slide stop on both sides. You have the mag release, of course, on both sides with that paddle style design, and ambidextrous trigger. Alright, so I didn't have the conditions that I would have liked out at the range to give the normal multiple cameras, target camera, all that good stuff for the first 100 rounds. But here you go. Here are the first 100 rounds after the fact on this target. Target's actually, you can see it's bent up and creased a little bit just from blowing around in the wind and being knocked over a few times. It was really a miserable day out there. But nonetheless, good fun was had with the HK VP9. One of the things I noticed right away before I even shot the pistol was the magazines load really well. They are 15 round magazines, double stack, but getting that 15th round in there is really not any trouble at all. And I was using an Uplula mag loader, but even if you were loading those by hand, I don't think you'd have any real struggle getting that last round in the magazine. I noticed right away that the VP9 manages recoil extremely well. The gun shoots very flat, especially for a polymer framed handgun with, not an incredibly low bore axis, although the bore axis on this gun is respectably low. It's not like its stablemates, certainly not like HK45. It does have a much lower bore axis, but it's still not as low as a Glock or some of the other polymer frame pistols. Ergonomics are fantastic, as you would expect. That's been kind of all the rage on this gun anyway, but you can just tell by looking at it, it's got some interesting ergonomics, and the way it fits your hand is extremely comfortable, with the ability to customize the shape and size of the back strap and the side panels, the grip panels on this gun. It really should be a gun that can fit just about anyone extremely well. The trigger is something I was really anxious to feel on this gun because I have high expectations and I have some high comparisons to make with this gun in terms of the trigger. And I'm impressed with it. It's a good trigger. It feels really nice. I'm still getting a feel, even at the 100 round mark, I'm still getting a feel for the reset on it so that I can shoot it relatively rapidly and properly. You can see that, on this target, as I started to speed up my shooting, I started to open up my groups. Now, it's normal under almost any conditions anyway, but I noticed I was slapping the trigger a little bit because I didn't have a good feel for exactly where that reset point is. So with a little bit of time, I should be able to tighten that group up and shoot even faster. And, lastly, one of the things that I didn't think I would care about at all is the cocking tabs on the back of the slide, and I actually found them to be quite useful. You know, out at the range, they have a lot of good practical value, and you know, sometimes I go overhand, sometimes I go slingshot, but I definitely found myself saying, hey, what the heck, you know, why not use those? And they're really good. So I can definitely see an opportunity for some people who might be a little more challenged in manipulating the slide on a semi-automatic to really like those. And one of the things I like about them, they are polymer and they are inserted down underneath the rear sight. So if you wanted to remove them, I think you could by drifting the rear sight out and then lifting that out. It would be a little bit of extra effort to go to, but I'm sure you can remove them. But one of the things I do like about them is that they're polymer, they're not steel, so they're not sharp, they're not hard on your fingers. So some of the feedback that I get from new shooters that have trouble racking the slide on a semi-automatic is that, you know, in order for these serrations and a slide to be very practical, they need to be relatively sharp. You know, they have to give you a really good grip and firm friction against your skin, right? So that makes them a little sharp. But for people with a little more delicate skin, that's actually something that bothers them, you know, and sometimes causes them a little discomfort. So these extensions being made of polymer and a little bit rounded off don't have that feel. So I don't know. I think maybe HK is really kind of onto something there, and I think that's a nice add to the pistol. So there she is, H&K, HK VP9, excellent new gun. After 100 rounds, I'm very impressed. Can't wait to put hundreds and hundreds more through it, even thousands more through it. And I will definitely be doing a follow-up and probably some comparisons. And I'm thinking, first comparison I'm going to have to do is probably going to be this one. So stay tuned for that.